In lesson 36, we're going to look at multiplication and division of rational expressions. These are rational expressions, and we're going to figure out how to multiply them. It's very simple. As long as you know how to FOIL, okay, and factor, then these are going to be pretty easy. But if you don't know how to factor, these are going to be good practice. So we got to factor basically as much as we can. So if I look at x squared plus x minus 12, in example 36.1, what multiplies to be negative 12 adds up to be x. Now I'm going to solve a lot of these for y'all pretty quickly just to make this go pretty fast in the video. But negative 3 and positive 4 would multiply to be negative 12 and add up to be 1. So for here I could say x minus 3 times x plus 4. Do the same thing here. What multiplies to be negative 20 adds up to be negative 1. That would mean the bigger number has to be negative because it adds up to be negative 1. But you would get x minus 5, x plus 4. Now on this side, multiplies to be negative 35, adds up to be 2, is that. Multiplies to be 14, adds up to be 9. That one's easy, both positive. X plus 7 times x plus 2. Now once you get to this part, once you get to this part, we're going to start wiping things out. We can cancel stuff because it's all being multiplied. So if it's being multiplied, and notice the sums are in their own identity, but they're being multiplied, so therefore we can add whatever is alike. Here's an x plus 7 and x plus 7. Well, x plus 7 over x plus 7 is 1. Here's an x plus 4. Here's an x plus 4. Those could cross out. X minus 5, x minus 5. Those could cross out. So we are left with our answer being x minus 3 over x plus 2. And that's all it is, multiplication of rational expressions. Let's look at a couple more examples. The only difference in this one is we have a division sign. Well, if we're dividing by, I know it's a lot here, but ultimately it's a fraction. If we're dividing by a fraction, what do you think we do? Multiply by the reciprocal. So we switch this to a multiply sign, and we flip them. So, so this top part here would become plus 2x minus 35. And this bottom part would be, I think that's right. Let me check the book. Make sure I put it back in place properly. Yep, negative 15. Okay. And now we just start factoring. What multiplies to be positive 8 adds up to be negative 6. That would be x minus 4 times x minus 2. What multiplies to be negative 28 adds up to be positive 3. Factors of 28, we go x, what would that be? Plus 7, x minus 4. Over here, we did that one over here, so I'm just going to write it down. X minus 5, x plus 7 is what we did before. What multiplies to be negative 15 adds up to be negative 2. Negative 5 and 3. Positive 3. So now we have everything factored, and we can start canceling and eliminating. X minus 4, x minus 5, x plus 7. So we're left with x minus 2 over x plus 3 as our answer. Let's look at one more. This one tries to add a few things. it gives us, this is what example, 36.3, gives us x squared plus x minus 6, all this stuff, but then it says x cubed minus 2x squared minus 35x divided by x plus 3 over x squared minus 7x. Okay, well, first thing, we see the division, so we flip it. I think we know that, so I went ahead and rewrote it over here. Got it in the right format. And now we start factoring. Let's look at this one. We know what to do here. X squared plus x minus 6 multiplies, well, positive 3 and negative 2 equal negative 6 multiplied and then add up to be 1. Now let's look at this one. Well, all of these, what we would do to start when we factor this, all of these have an x in them. So if that's the case, we can take an x out. And when we take an x out of x cubed, we're left with x squared. I think that's a 2x squared. I didn't write that part. Minus 2x minus 35. And now we have something we can factor right here. Well, what multiplies to be negative 35 adds up to be negative 2. That would be negative 7 and positive 5. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that here. Negative 7. And then x plus 5. Okay. The bottom one over here is just x plus 3, so that's awesome. We don't have to do anything there. But we get x squared minus 7x over there. Can we factor? Well, factor means you have something common in both of the variables there. And we do. They both have an x, so we can factor out x and be left with 1x minus 7. 1x minus 7. So now from here we can start crossing stuff out. X minus 7, x minus 7, x plus 3, x plus 3. Get rid of the x's. No one likes their x's. They're old news. Then you're left with this as your answer is what it looks like. X minus 2 over x plus 5. And that is how you do rational expressions. Go Hogs. Woo pig.